Transformers Earthspark is a new animated show that just premiered on Paramount Plus from Nickelodeon, and it's about 9 episodes deep right now on Paramount Plus. And I they all just came out today. I watched them all, and I just want to share my thoughts. Um, this show's okay. I went into this show after really getting into Star Trek Prodigy, and I wanted that this show to be like Star Trek Prodigy is for the Star Trek franchise, but for Transformers. And it's not that, unfortunately. I did like the show. It's all right. Um, I think I think once it gets into a season two, the show might get really good because this first season, especially the first few episodes, very kiddie. Like the kids have the designs of the kids. They look like really kiddie. The humor in those episodes, dialogue for the kids, they're honestly the worst part of the show. But you get why they're there because this is a Transformers show. Transformers always have to have human sidekicks. I mean, as much as people complain about the ones in the Michael Bay movies, they do always have human sidekicks in the original show, from what I remember. And but the Transformers are always still the focus. So that's why people complain about it there. But I'm saying, like, that's why they're here. Also, this is a show aimed at kids, so kids being main characters. Uh, just kind of thing. And they're not the worst characters. And again, the focus is still on our Autobots and Decepticons and all that shit. But it's a nice, but yeah, it's just like, all right. And it's nice that the Autobots are, doing their thing. They're great characters as always. And I think where the show thrives is the designs of all the Autobots. They look all really, really cool. It's and the action. The action in this show is awesome. It's beautifully animated. The way it's all designed, like a lot of the show could be like a really neat steel frame when it comes to the action scenes. Just for how everything flows and moves, it is beautifully animated. It's kind of funny because like the character movements are really stilted, but I think that's because all the money goes into the action scenes and how they pull those off and the dynamics and the poses. It's really beautiful. Um, and a lot of that's cool, and the villains are threatening and menacing. It's an all right show. It's not gonna be the show that Transformers are gonna eat up. I think the War for Cybertron type stuff is probably what like OG hardcore Transformers fans are gonna want. That stuff is, while I guess a kid could watch it, it's clearly more aimed at adults, and this is just not. It's aimed at kids, and while that's a fun show, yeah, and I feel like this maybe over time could become what TMNT 2012 was, because TMNT 2012 had a pretty rough season. It wasn't a bad season, but it was a rough season where it was a little too kiddie, it was a little too humorous, and over time they went to darker places and evolved the show. But what was neat about that show is they also blended every generation of turtles into that show. There were characters, there was lore, comic books that all came together to make this really neat show. And early on, you can see glimpses of that in this show, where you see the way they reference like comic books and the cartoons, and there's moments of that, and how this show could maybe be that. Also, the animation seems reminiscent of Transformers Prime and things like that. So, makes you think, okay, maybe this could be the blending of Transformers shows the way that show was the blending of Turtles. I don't know. I do think that I do need to see more before I really assess this show. I don't quite love it though.